First time that I discovered Mars Hill's network was in 2018. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was living in sin. I was a criminal, a drug addict. I was the worst of the worst. God has restored my life from living in Los Angeles, being homeless and running the streets in Hollywood and doing all these things that, and my life has been completely transformed by the grace of God. And I owe everything I have to Him. It always makes me very happy when I hear you guys promoting Teen Challenge of Syracuse. That ministry alone saved my life as well. I was in Teen Challenge, and I guess it was during dinner time, and Teen Challenge, I heard it on the radio. So that's around the first time that I heard it. And ever since then, since I started walking with the Lord, I started listening to Mars Hill Network almost every morning since then.
I moved to Syracuse from Canada in 2019. Thomas had finished his discipleship at Teen Challenge, and I was pregnant with our son TJ. And so when Thomas was working during the day at home, I would listen to Mars Hill Network and specifically listen to Unshackled every day at lunch, and just so overwhelmed by all the testimonies of what God has done in so many people's lives and just how much He had changed our lives from where we were before, living in sin and just, blinded by worldliness and riddled with addictions, and just hearing the stories of people going through the same thing and time again, just how Jesus comes and He rescues us. And really it's the people that it's unexpected, right? It's people who are viewed more as drug addicts, who are viewed kind of more as a lower class, and God just lifts us up out of there and shows us who we really are. So it's impacted my life by hearing what others have gone through as well. It really just brings me joy to hear those testimonies. Also, I love the teachings of John MacArthur, his sticking to the word, and just the sound teaching that we hear on Mars Hill. You don't always hear sound teaching on all types of networks. So Mars Hill, we know we're getting sound teaching when we turn on the radio station.
And how is the unity of the faith there described? As the knowledge of the Son of God to a mature man, to the measure of the stature which belongs to the fullness of Christ. So the unity of our faith is a common Christ-likeness.
Every day I thank Him for what He's been doing in my life. And every day I make sure that I dedicate time aside for Him. And if that's turning on Mars Hill Network, and knowing that, and having discernment of what I listen to and what I'm watching. And I know that I can trust whatever I'm listening to on Mars Hill Network is going to be edifying to me.
How was the flame fanned in Timothy's life? It was flamed by the people who were around Timothy, who were able to say to him, thank you, who were able to say to him, that's an encouragement, who were able to say to him, hey, look out, Timothy, who were able to say, you better not say it like that again, Timothy. That's how it happens.
A couple days ago, I was listening to Mars Hill Network, and there was a song on, and I was just driving on the road, and then all of a sudden the Spirit came over me, and I started weeping, and I had to pull over the side of the road and put my caution lights on. And after I could gather my composure, I called Pastor Dave, and I was like, Pastor Dave, I just don't know what happened. I said, I was just listening to the song, and all of a sudden the Spirit came over me, and and He was so excited for me. I'm very blessed to be able to listen to Mars Hill and everything that it's doing for not only Teen Challenge, but for the community and everybody else who listens to it.
Alexa, play Mars Hill Network.
WMHR from Tuning.
Okay, our first stop, Rathbones Palace.
I just like to say that it is important to support Christian ministries that are media related, because there are not so many Christian networks that are also sound teaching and sound music. So the more support that Christian media has, the more it's going to be available to everybody. As somebody, I was living in Canada before I moved here, and it was so hard to find anything that was Christian related, especially on the radio. If we're Christians, we should be supporting these companies Because if we want our children listening to Christian music, watching Christian television, watching Christian movies, because all forms of entertainment are in our lives anyway. So the more that we can give to media companies that are promoting Jesus, his love, the gospel, and sound music, the more chances that people have to be able to listen to it.
I would love to encourage anyone who's listening to help promote the kingdom of God, which Mars Hill Network is doing. I just hope everybody would support Mars Hill Network and their cause and what they're doing, because they are changing lives.